Hello and welcome back everybody. So today I'm gonna make another Hawks video, but I'm not really gonna talk about what I talked about last time. Today I'm actually gonna specifically talk about Hawks' quirk, because we don't really know exactly what Hawks' quirk does. All we know is that he has wings, he's able to shoot out feathers, and these feathers can have some pretty interesting properties as we've seen in the last chapter of My Hero Academia. But I really want to discuss exactly what his quirk may be. Like, this is obviously gonna be entirely based on speculation and what we've seen in the two chapters, or rather one chapter where we've seen him use his quirk properly, which is flying and shooting his feathers in order to use them as projectiles, or in some cases help them carry stuff or similar things like that. Because in chapter 186, when we first saw his quirk, they really opened the chapter by showing off his quirk. Like, that was the main intent of the beginning of the chapter, as we know. There were also some secondary reasons as to why they did this, but I'm really gonna just talk about the quirk now. So based on what we saw, like I said, we saw him shoot feathers as projectiles. Now this is a really interesting point, because a lot of people have been speculating that Hawks' quirk is derived from Angel of the X-Men, and apparently so far he's been showing a lot of features that we've already seen from Angel. Now me personally, I've never really been into X-Men and all that stuff, so I didn't really know about that, until after the fact, so I haven't really looked into it too much. But what I do know is the basis of it. Like, he has wings, apparently he can shoot feathers or something, he can shoot projectiles anyway, at least that's what I've been told. And the one thing Hawks kind of showed us was that he could do a little bit more than that. He could do a little bit more than just shooting them as projectiles. He could actually use these feathers in order to help people, not just attack people. And this is what I found to be so interesting, because we actually saw Hawks save a dog from being run over by a car or a bus. Then we also saw his feathers do something even more interesting, which was helping an old lady up the stairs as well as her bag. So his feathers must have some pretty interesting properties. Like, he can actually control these feathers with some precision. We don't really know exactly how precise they may be or exactly what the properties are, but if I had to make a guess, I would probably say that his feathers may help altering the mass of whatever they touch. Because if feathers can actually lift an old lady and a bag, and a dog, these things weigh a lot more than said feathers would normally weigh. So there has to be some property where these feathers will actually alter whatever it is that they're carrying. Like, that's the only conclusion I can really think of in regards to that. Now, another thing that I really want to talk about, of course, is the drawback of his quirk, because this is something that we simply have absolutely no idea about. I'm sure we're gonna find out really soon, hopefully, but I just wanted to make a video before that happens, because what's the fun in talking about it after the fact, am I right? Let's just talk about it before it happens. That way maybe I can find out if I was wrong or if I was right. I mean, I'm sure I'll be right on some ends. Like, obviously some of the things may be fairly straightforward. I don't think I'm gonna be necessarily right about the drawback, but so what I think about the drawback is obviously that, as we know, he can fly, he can shoot feathers. However, I do not think his feathers regenerate immediately. I do think there is some time for his feathers to regrow in order for him to keep using at least some features of his quirk. Like, the flying may be more permanent. I'm not saying it is, but I think it's a lot more permanent than his actual shooting of the feathers, you know what I mean? I think these feathers that he shoots are limited, at least for some amount of time. I don't really know how long that would be, of course, but because it doesn't make sense for him to just be able to keep shooting feathers continually without them running out. It doesn't really make sense. If that were to happen, it would remind me a lot of Minetta's quirk, which, thinking about it, wouldn't really be a good thing for Hawks, I think, because Minetta, at the end of the day, he's a comic relief character. Although that's not his entire purpose, that is his main purpose. And Hawks is not really meant to be ridiculed, right? He's supposed to be a fairly serious character. He's supposed to be the second strongest character in the story. At least the second best ranked, meaning he's probably the second strongest, at least the second best at the moment. So I hope that's not the case. I hope his feathers don't simply just regrow, immediately, and if he does it too much, he's gonna start bleeding from the wings. Like, I hope that's not the case, but if it is, then that's that's fine, I guess, but it just feels wrong to me on some level, because of the fact that it would remind me so much of Minetta's pop-off quirk, where, he can throw his balls continually, but if he does it too much, within a certain time limit, his head will start bleeding. Now, this is really all I had to say about, what I think about Hawks' quirk, like how I think it may operate, what the drawback might be, or what it might not be, which is mostly what I said in regards to his drawback. I don't want it to be too similar to Minetta's quirk, but I also don't want his wings, or at least his feathers, to be a limitless thing. I want there to be some limit to how much feathers he can use. At least let there be a time limit or something, you know what I mean? So I would love to know what you guys think, what his drawback is, what his actual quirk is, like what is the entire function of Hawks' quirk besides flying, because flying is a given, he can fly, we know this much, but what about his actual feathers, the feathers that he can shoot out of his wings in order to use them as projectiles, in order to use them to carry things, what do you think the actual properties of this quirk is? I would love to know what you guys think down below in the comments, and as always, if you did, be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. This has been Chaotic Plus, and remember everybody, Toga is waifu, Toga is laifu.